the delta meditation. They remove God's name out of 1 Corinthians 13. It says, but the greatest of these in delta is love. A delta should be this. When a delta was is no longer, what does it say in 1 Corinthians 13? But it's
So you don't even know 1 Corinthians 13, and you sitting there talking about how it replaces it with delta. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it sounds good until somebody says, "Okay, recite it."
talked about how when I thought like a child, when I think.
Peace and blessings. What's good? This is your boy Seven Inglewood Zone right now, and your zone. And this is another episode of Society Breakdown, where we do a little bit of analysis into the culture. You dig? And so last week we were discussing one Melissa Blair, former member of the sorority Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated. And last we revealed that she has discovered, or it has been revealed to her in some sort of way, that her organization, or that all of the organizations within the Divine Nine, also called the D9, is a cult. Last time we talked about her introduction into the organization, and how her family and friends and all these other mentors and others in authority positions around her all knew about the organization, but apparently none of them were able to provide her any sort of information into her journey and to prepare her for what she was about to go into, which I found interesting because she did have the wherewithal to find which schools was the most punitory. So I know that she did do some research, but this was at a time when she said that somehow, I guess, Google didn't work, even though the internet had been around at least since the late 90s. And she had begun her search into the land of the D9 in 2007. You know, the wee early years of the internet, when it was all but a fledgling child, and nothing was available. It was just the Wild West, and you couldn't find anything at any point. Google was only but a mere 4 or 5 years old at the time, but she couldn't find any place to do any research. And she's also talked about how she's admittedly participated in some of the abuse. So we know these. We know this. We know these things. We know this so far. Now, let's go ahead and go further and see if at some point we could find the demonic side of it, because that's the part that I'm actually looking for. I'm looking for the demonic or the cult side. I'm looking for either of those things, because there are certain things that you can look for when it comes to being in an actual cult versus what she's talking about. But at least from what I've seen so far. But I don't want to anchor the audience into any sort of decision. I will just leave it and let it play and let you all decide for yourselves. But let's go.
I mean, this stuff is so ridiculous that you're gonna be like, there's no way you went through all of that for this. There's no way that you went through all of that for this now, because we thinking we about to hear something super deep because they're telling us that they have hidden knowledge, and we're looking for knowledge. We're looking for the light. That's why you join, because they're telling you that the Delta light is the light that you're looking for, because the light in Christ is not enough. And so you need the Delta light. But, all these people are saying, but I had it.
Okay, all right. So I got to stop right here. Have they, in anyone's process? Now, I'll ask. This is specifically of anybody who's within the D9, right? So I'm specifically speaking to you. Have any of you within your process ever said, reach for this light because the light of Jesus isn't enough? Has anybody ever said that, or said those words? I had to repeat or utter those words in any of your rituals. I'm not asking you to reveal any sort of secrets, unless this is part of your actual ritual, which I doubt. But I'm just saying that because I seriously doubt this is actually part of anybody's ritual. I think now she's starting to fill in a gap of the gap of absurdity between what actually happened and what she believes now. And because she can't really drop that or make it seem like, one is the replacement of the other. She has to fill it in with this claim now that, well, because the other one ain't good enough. Who says that? Who said that? When was that said?
I had enough I need in Christ. Well, then why were you in search of another light? Why were you in search of the information and the knowledge and the wickedness that you was learning through Delta if you already had Christ and that was enough and you don't put anything before it? So now we're there, and then they take you also during the day through calisthenics. So they would make you do this thing called Delta chair, and it's like squats on the wall.
No.
You have to basically like say the information, and then they're pouring water in your face at the same time. They're making you do Delta TV, which you're doing planks, and you got this underneath, and you have to spit the information while doing that. And if you fall, your lawn sister has to come and get underneath you to keep you up. But then they're going to push, they're going to shove you, all of those different types of things. So this is stuff we're going through during the day. We ain't even got to what we're going through at night. Then you got to leave all that and then go rush to class. But you can't be caught like on campus. You can't. If you bought a meal plan, you can't go eat in the cafeteria, and we're not even allowed to eat. So we couldn't go and eat like fast food and stuff like that. How are we gonna cook? So all of us, I have a picture of me and I am so thin, because a majority of us are in all our money for them.
This is sounding like Hell Week.
It's,
This is sounding like Hell Week.
we spending all our money for them. We come
There was none of the pro fights or the big sisters were like, all right, y'all, like, let's have a little bit of mercy. This is a little, let's try to take care of them. Nobody said that.
No, because the 9 times out of 10, the person who they made DP, that was somebody that was uncontrollable. They all feared that person. So even if you had one person that was like, okay, this is a little too much,
Yeah,
they was all afraid of that.
think
This is that the DP is normally a hothead, and she the one that's leading the thing. So you're putting these young girls, and you're having manipulative conversations like, we gonna make sure y'all safe. You get into the atmosphere, nobody's safe.
I'll just say in my organization, now in the chapter I'm in now, our DP is not and I don't even know who the most feared man in the organization would be, but I know our DP. I don't think he would be it. No offense to him, but I don't think he. If I were to pick any of the top 5 scariest men within our organization, if there is one, it'd be more so actually by power, not by actual prowess. but but if I were to pick one of the top 5, our current DP would not be anywhere near that top. So yeah, I don't know what this lady's talking about. And I'll say this. I'm gonna ask this, right? So you were already a part of a cult. You didn't recognize anything that was cult-ish as you were going through whatever rituals and things would have you to, reflect and say, hey, oh wow. I mean, like after the fact, maybe if you're doing it, you don't realize, but after the fact, you can kind of look back and say, yeah, that's what that was. I mean, regard to because that's what she talked about when she said that she had started off going to a church that her grandmother didn't like the church that they were going to. So her grandmother started their own church, which became a cult. Looking back, she said she realized that. So I'm like, if you realize that you grew up in a cult, at what point did you realize that? And why weren't you able to apply that knowledge to this situation? That's what I want to know.
And let's just say you was the one that had the attitude. Like, I'm not finna let y'all do that to me. I'm not finna let you slap me and spit in my face. Absolutely. I'm not finna let you do that. I'm gonna buck up on you. Oh, okay. You the one with the attitude. Okay, bet. I'm gonna make you write a 12-page paper that says why it's not good to have an attitude. Yes. And then on top of that, I'm gonna take it out on the person that's your front and your back, and I'm gonna take it out on them. And you're gonna sit there and you're gonna watch them be violated. Now you gotta sit right there and watch them get violated for you. Or no, they don't take it. They're not gonna keep bullying you. They're gonna take it off on the one that's the least on the line. And they're gonna sit there and make you watch it.
You just said that they picked the head and the tail, or I guess, yeah, the end and the tip, whatever. So that sounded to me like they specifically picked some people, not like they were looking at physical features, but they were just looking at positions. Quickest ones I can get to, bam, bam, y'all two, come here. And I'm not sitting there saying that that's necessarily right, but have you ever been a part of a team? Have you ever worked when you were a part of a team and your team was relying on your participation for everyone's success? That's what that is. And that sounds more, I mean, again, I'm not, I don't want to sit here and mince words and get into, what is what and all this stuff. But I mean, writing an essay and then taking it out. Why can't you control yourself? Like if this is the thing you want, and I think that's I think that's what even now I think you know uh, she and maybe others like her don't understand that this is a metaphor. This isn't real. This is a metaphor. And if you feel it necessary to fall prey to a metaphor, now again, I know people will have gone and will take things as far and extreme as they want to go. I get that, but when we're talking about in general, this is a metaphor, and this is how you're supposed to see it. And I don't think that you're supposed to take a metaphor and look at that as real life. That's, but maybe that's just me. Y'all let me know.
High level manipulation that keeps you. I want you to think about the stuff that happens to like rap artists and stuff. This is how these people, they keep them in this type of fear. Oh, you don't want to do what we said? Bet we gonna go do something to your mama.
Your mama.
Well, like in the rap industry, not.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, ma'am, you're not.
But you get what I mean. Like, that's how they get those people to fall.
But actually, no, 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 no. Let's stay right here. Let's stay right there, right? So she's saying, this is akin to the rap industry and all that stuff, and they go at your mama. But okay, if this is necessarily a cult, why aren't they going at your mama? Right? Why aren't they trying to separate you from your mama? Why aren't they trying to keep you from your people? Why aren't they, why aren't they doing that? Isn't that what cults do? Don't cults usually separate you from the people that you love, that you trust, that you who would talk common sense to you, who would tell you that you shouldn't do that? You are surrounded by people who are Greek in Black Greek letter organizations. You are surrounded by them. You are Melissa lady. Like you are surrounded by people who are within those organizations, right? And none of them, none of them seem to have informed you at any point that one, that this was a possibility, or two, that this is a metaphor, or three, that this is not a cult. I'm just saying, I want to know, where is the cultish behavior that is taking place on the BGELO level? Where is it? Now this stuff? Now. Granted, this is hazing. What you're describing, this is hazing. Okay, so this is hazing, and this has been outlawed and very and you can talk to the Hellenic organization about that. You can talk to Delta leadership about that. And matter of fact, that's another thing when it comes to cults. When it comes to cults, you can't question the leadership. You can definitely talk to Delta leadership if you are having an issue. Definitely. You can reach out. Still can.
Crips and Bloods, we was college educated gangs, ready to fight you in the club if you try to do our dance, do our step, throw up our. Are you kidding me? You know why people be ready to fight like that? Because of everything that they did to get them letters. Oh, you think I'm gonna let you come up in here and just get it like that? And you could just do whatever? That's why people are like that, because of what you did to get it. That's why people are like that in the music industry. Oh, nah, you got to come in here and get violated the way I did.
Aren't people like that for just about anything that they want to hold onto and claim? Let's just say, let's just say that you are, let's just say you're a man and you are someone who is of, ripe status and marriageable age and don't have any children of any sort. And women are just clamoring to be with you and blah, 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 right? You're that guy and you're straight. And, young lady, you finally decide to pick one young lady. She's the one, you give her your name. And then suddenly, here comes out the blue, you know, sorry. So you decide to give her your name. You go through the steps of courting and all that. She has to prove her love and, she has to make sure and you have to be sure. Like you've already established yourself. You're like, now you have to establish yourself in my life so I can know who you are. How can I trust you and all that good hum. Right. So you do go through she goes through all that stuff. And finally she becomes Mrs. Whoever you are. Then here comes some other woman out the blue next day after the ceremony. And she says, well, I'm Mrs. Such and Such too. You don't think that first woman is going to feel some kind of way? Like, hold on. Not only are you a fraud, but secondly, you didn't even go through what I went through to earn this spot in the first place. You don't think she do that? You don't think people don't do that when it comes to, you don't think people are just naturally territorial when it comes to positions and status? Like, that's just how people naturally are. So to sit here and try to attribute that solely to this organization that's disingenuous at least. So I don't know. I give it to y'all to let me know what you think it is at most. But I mean, I just yeah. What's what what organization is there where somebody who imagine working at an organization, you've worked your way up to be, vice president, sorry, management, supervisor or something like that, whatever. So you're some sort of supervisor, some sort of manager, department or regional. You're a regional manager. So you moved up and finally you become a regional manager. And then out the blue, here comes some college kid who has no experience, but has a little connection. And now they are equal to you. You're 20 years in. You wouldn't feel some kind of way? Is that what you're trying to tell me that you wouldn't feel some kind of way if some person came up and didn't usurp your responsibility or position, but just claimed equality after the years that it took you to get to where you were? You wouldn't feel some kind of way? I find that highly debatable.
And at this time, we're also doing all these seances, oaths, rituals, necromancy. We was doing spells almost every night. So your memory is gone.
Wait, wait. Yeah. Wait, so y'all casting spells every night? Every night, y'all just doing some necromancy, so your memory's gone. But you remember that you did the spell. So then how it, but so you're remembering now that you did did it take? I guess the necromancy didn't work. So I guess it didn't take all these rituals and things. I mean, it seems like you're just throwing out words. We just blah 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 blah. Yeah. I mean, church has rituals. Church has uh, 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 things that are chanted. You know what I'm saying? And is that necromancy? As a matter of fact, necromancy is when you are specifically speaking with the dead and chanting to the dead in order to predict the future. That's what necromancy is. Use words for the definitions that they're defined, that they're given. Don't be giving words, giving new words just because you slow down. Let me slow down. Let me just let me calm down. Let me calm down. I can't. It just annoys me when I see people who try to purport themselves as knowledgeable, and you're like, just as the conversation goes on, you're like, oh, you really don't know things, and it just becomes apparent. Just, I mean, the further we get into this conversation, the more it's revealing to me, at least, that she doesn't seem to know as much as she thinks she knows, or maybe she does. Maybe she does, and she's just very poor at describing it. Maybe that's what it is. But you're not talking to the dead in order to predict the future. That's what necromancy is. Let's. Do I got to pull it up? Do I got to pull it up? I had to pull it up. Not all that. Come over here. Necromancy. Boom. The ancient, often forbidden practice of communicating with or summoning the dead, primarily for divination to learn hidden knowledge or future events. So, did you learn any hidden knowledge, or did you do? Were you trying to find out about the future? If not, then you were not performing necromancy. Oh my God! I'm gonna come up. Here's a new T-shirt idea. I don't know works. I don't know works. You can just say I don't know. That's still available. That option is still available.
Ask people in the comments, majority of them cannot even remember half of the stuff that they did because we actively spoke spells over ourselves. If it's not for the Holy Spirit to commit it back to your remembrance, half of the people can't even remember the stuff that we did.
What are you talking about? So are we? Tell me what you wore 2 days ago. Tell me what you ate for breakfast Wednesday of last week. Oh well, it must be the necromancy. It must be the necromancy. Maybe, guys. It must be the necromancy.
And we do an air, fire, water, and earth ritual to those things every single day. Every single day as we go through the nine path. We have a water ritual where we take distilled water, and mind you, we walk in. The older big sisters, they're standing there. It's a dark room. The altar is always set up, and the altar looks like it's a table. It has a Delta Sigma Theta on it, a banner. It has a red candle and a white candle because the deity attached to Delta is Minerva. And the red candle, and if you were actually bringing the girls over, like a part of that, you would be a part of the Minerva circle. And Minerva is even on the shield. She's at the top of the shield.
This is one of those times when I have to reach out to the people of DST or any sort of other of the any of the other D9s and say, hey, um, who is your Greek god, and is your Greek god on your shield also? Because I was not aware of Minerva. Now I will admittedly let you know that I did not know much, and I don't know much about the DST process and how and all the history. Considering what we've heard from her so far, I don't know how much validity we can put into this part of the story. Now, I'm not one to be like, hey, if somebody, can't add 2 plus 2, then they can't tell you their story of assault or something like that. I'm not one of those types. So I understand that, it's possible that maybe she's been confused on quite a few other things. And maybe now we're getting into the part that's true or what have you. I don't know. But it still seems a little far fetched. So y'all let me know, who is your Greek god du jour? And how do you pay homage? Is it through seance and some other sort of clandestine ritual? I don't want to be the well actually kind of guy, right? But if we're sitting here talking about Greek this, Greek that, um, Minerva is a Roman goddess, so that's you see what I'm saying. So it's like that's why I said I don't know how much we can actually place into what she's saying, because these are Greek organizations. Why would you have a Roman goddess as your deity du jour, I guess? And then, um, like, because I, in Greek mythology, you're the in Greek mythology, the equivalent of Minerva would be Athena. Athena, that would be your goddess, of wisdom. So, I don't know if, I mean, and even if, let me just say, okay, let me ask this. Let me expand. Let me take it back, because I don't want to get too much into the weeds. But if we just take this back, did you get any wisdom? Like, I mean, I guess you got the wisdom to get out of the organization, right? Okay. But what but the rest of the stuff that you're talking about is, again, sounds more like a testimony of a guilty person, a guilty conscience that needs to unload.
Yeah, we had these treasure boxes where we would have a gift, and at the end we would have a Kwanzaa celebration where it looked like an ephah table set up, and we would have to light candles. We would have to give gifts at the altar, and this was our gift and our sacrifice that we wanted to give of our gift to Delta.
Okay, wait, is there more
Mhm.
to
And I ain't even go through all of them. That was
Okay,
just like three examples, but we did something all 9 days.
so let's break this down, right? So she's saying that you're talking about Christianity, then you're bringing in a Kwanzaa celebration, and then you're talking about your Greek lettered organization. So there's three different belief systems. Is three different belief systems that are all being kind of intertwined or intermingled. Is it what you're saying? Are you saying that they're all being expressed at the same time? Like, who? What kind of what kind of ham-fisted approach of amalgamation is this? Like, what is this? What is this? So so you're doing a Kwanzaa celebration and a faux Christian organization, which is really having you now. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there saying that what she's saying can't be interpreted as some sort of whatever. Sure. But here's the thing. It's like, again, if you don't understand metaphors, allegory, and like if you don't understand similes, like it's going, a lot of things are going to hit you as actual, or like they won't go over your head because they're gonna hit you right in the head. And then you're sitting there saying, I'm getting abused. And they're like, no, these things aren't even supposed to be touching you. What are you doing? It's supposed to be going over your head. Oh, snap. You getting effed up because you really don't know what's going on. But I'm saying that to say that when this young lady is, when anybody is talking in any organization is talking about how we're doing something in the spirit of X, Y, and Z, or with the force of, I mean, we talk about the spirit of brotherhood all the time. Is that some spirit that we're, because, like, here's what I really want to get into. So she's saying that they're doing incantations. In incantations, you're actually speaking to a deity. Did you ever say, hey, Minerva, lady, I want you and your spirit in me. Pause. Did you ever at any point say those things? Because then you're doing an incantation. Otherwise, you're just saying shit. And that's the difference. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean when I say metaphor versus real shit. Like you're just talking metaphor. You're speaking in the terms in terms of and I'm not sitting and again, I don't want to sit here and sound callous like you weren't affected. Sure, you were affected and these things affected you in some kind of way. But however, comma space, I think you also need to take a level of accountability and responsibility for the choices that you made that got you to this point. That wasn't Delta that did that shit. It was you that did that shit. You. You chose to do it. And even if something happened to you, you chose to perpetuate it. You. You did. Yeah. Yeah. So, uh, I mean, and again, and did Minerva? What did Minerva do? I'm not sitting there saying like there aren't demons and all that. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in terms of what she's talking about and the goddess of Minerva, like when you were talking to Minerva, what happened? What happened? What all came with that? What all came with that conversation? That's what I really want to know. Because if you weren't actually speaking to the goddess of Minerva, then you were not doing any incantations. You're just saying shit that sounds salacious to people who also know less than you.
And called it the Delta meditation. They removed God's name out of 1 Corinthians 13. It says, but a Delta, but the greatest of these in Delta is love. A Delta should be this. When a Delta was is no longer, what does it say in 1 Corinthians 13? But it's
So you don't even know 1 Corinthians 13, and you sitting there talking about how it replaces it with Delta. See, that's what I'm saying. Don't like it sounds good until somebody says, okay, recite it.
talked about how when I thought like a child, when I think when I thought and I was a pyramid and I was a pledge, I no longer think like that. I am now a delta. And I think, yeah, they take God's name out and they put delta in 1 Corinthians 13. They do the same thing in Revelation 21. Like if I sung some of her private songs, you would say immediately, you are a witch. But there are only songs that we can say publicly. And that's why a lot of this stuff was not caught in the church. In the public song they let everybody sing is called the what is it called? The sweetheart song, okay? And that's let me tell you how disrespectful this thing is. So it goes, she may be an Omega sweetheart or the dream girl at A5A. She may wear a Kappa diamond or her love may a Sigma B. But if she wears the Delta symbol, then her first love is DST. And they make you sing that song. First love? Her first love is DST. And they make you sing that song at your wedding right after you took your wedding vows. And that's the thing that people going to see it.
What do you mean by that? Everyone's supposed to sing that?
Everybody. Yeah. So when you go to the reception and you watching them do their little ritual, they're singing those songs. And they're undoing the covenant you just made at the altar with your husband. Oh nah, your husband, that ain't
So again, please, if there are any DST members who would like to chime in, please, if your marriage has been destroyed, because of the undoing song singing that you did, um, right immediately after doing your. So how does this affect people who don't believe in God initially? What about them? When they get married, marriage being just a legal binding contract between two uh, otherwise unrelated parties, when they get married and they don't believe in God, so they just go down to the county clerk's office and fill out some forms and sign away or sign their life together. What about them? And let's just say they are one of them is a DST member. So is she, if when they do the circle around her, is her marriage also, because they'll still have like a reception or something like that, generally at the house or what have you. So if they have a their ritual at the house, I'm sorry, their ceremony, reception at the house, everyone's sitting and having a good time, and they decide to do the dance, first dance, and the garter tossing and the bouquet tossing and all that stuff. And when they do the circle, does that too undo, or is this only for biblical or Christian based? What about Muslims? What about Muslim women? Are they not allowed to, uh or are they also in danger? And for the, I don't know, for the septuagenarian, octogenarian deltas who are still married, how y'all feeling right now? I'm just curious. Was your marriage? Did you know your marriage was supposed to be undone when you did the circle singing song thing?
Take your name out of the book of life and you write your name in the book of Delta. You sign it.
You take your name out the book of life. When was your name put in the book of life? See what I'm saying? Like that's once again where we're just bridging the gap between bullshit. We got to somehow she got to try to bridge the gap between fact and bullshit, and the way she does it is by making up shit. And I think once again this is one of those made up statements. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but this just sounds like taking your name out the book of life, because this is why, to take your name out of the book of life. When was your name put in it? When? When? And if your name is put in the book of life, then let me leave it alone. Anyway, how and when? That's what I want to know.
With your signature. And it says that these vows will follow you to the eternal judgment. You are about to take upon yourself vows and covenants in which you will never be able to be freed, and they will follow you to the final judgment. We say that. I, in the eternal spirit of truth, pledge my undying love. We say all that. And we say we believe in a spiritual life, but we leave up to the person, the medium in whichever you want to assert. We say that. And then turn around and
What was that look?
right after they do that, we sing the Lord's Prayer.
At day's end, I would say this, right? When it comes to an actual cult, I've heard it said that, you can't even question the leadership, which you definitely can in a lot of these organizations. I've heard it said that, you know, bad things will happen to you if you decide to leave the organization. I'm pretty sure if you leave, I mean, you're sitting here on a national or platform talking about your discrepancies with the organization, and I'm pretty sure nothing bad has happened to you. So I think you're okay. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure the family that are already within the organization around you, I'm pretty sure they still will come to family meetings and things. And hey, how you doing? What's up? So there's that. And then I've heard that when you're part of a cult, there's a huge commitment to a huge financial commitment that that you can't maintain. And I don't think she's expressed, or to my knowledge yet, she hasn't expressed anything of that nature. And lastly, I think when it comes to a cult, you're separated from your family. And she hasn't talked about being separated from. I mean, she talked about marriages, so that's definitely not separation. So I mean, I don't know, but I would leave that up to you all to decide what you think as far as this young lady and her travels into the realm of Delta and Black letter Greek organizations as a whole. I honestly believe that she has been traumatized by her exposure to the cult life that she had early on, but when it comes to her Greek letter organization, I fail to be convinced. Now, granted, of course, I'm already showing my allegiance to my own, but I have the ability to be objective. And when I have new information, I have the opportunity to discern whether this is something I should add or disperse of, right? Just like anybody else. I tend to not hold on to bull or stuff that sounds like bull. And a lot of the stuff that this young lady's been saying so far, at least from my perspective, has been coming across like bull. But that's what we're going to leave it today. But if y'all want to send any other videos like this that you want your boy to review, make sure you send them to societybreakdown@gmail.com. But with that said, this has been your boy 7. This has been another episode of Society Breakdown. Y'all make sure y'all take care of each other until next time. And I'll holler at y'all then. Peace. And I'm out.